This is episode number 241 of the UFO Buster Radio News. And just today I sat down while I was working and I decided, let me listen to 240. Let me see how the Moonraker did. How did I do's my podcasting job? There was a point where I was like, for the outro, we're going to play this gangster song. You know, because I felt gangster. It was called Foul. And the foul part about it is that I'd never played. It actually, for about 2.5 minutes, it was nothing but dead air. That's the worst thing about this, because I can hear it in my headset, but apparently you guys didn't hear it, because when I replayed it, it was like, what's going on? The whole thing went dead. Completely dead. That is the pitfalls of podcasting on your own without a team. No one double checks me. I don't even double check myself, so shit gets fucked up. That's the way it is. I told you, we're plagued with problems here. Significant problems of many kinds. Now, the news article for today is kind of fascinating, right? Because in episode or two ago, I said that there's people in the realm of politics who are falling off of the turnip truck and politely, smoothly, kind of like John Travolta on a disco floor, falling onto the bandwagon of UFO. One of the biggest names in politics just did that, just yesterday. And trust me, I was ready to talk about this yesterday, and then I was like, oh, I can't, because yesterday I felt like Nostradamus in a way. Like I predicted this like a day or two before. I was proud of myself yesterday, but then today I'm like, I'm not so proud. I'm not feeling the pride in being able to predict what happened. Thanks, Joe Rogan. Thanks a lot. Before we get into the news report, I just want to give out a special shout out to Frank out in Florida who caught a early morning video of an Atlas rocket shooting off of or out of Cape Canaveral. And what a sight to see. It's the same thing you see, folks. You see the Atlas rockets. You see that halo it leaves behind. Same thing when it happens out on the West Coast. Fantastic. And I wonder how many UFO reports that generated for folks. But if you want to see, try to find Frank. He is on the UBR Truth Seekers. He's also he's actually following on Twitter. I mean, Frank is everywhere. Somebody follow Frank. Somebody get to Frank and follow him. He's got the inside track. I remember back in the day when Big O used to see those things. Not anymore. He's in South Dakota now. I don't even think he sees civilization, to be honest. He probably looks like a chupacabra right now. Probably like a really big one, not like the little ones they show in movies. Anyway, the news report for today is something which I said I predicted. The whole thing, bandwagon, turnip trucks, it's all happening. And it has to do with one Bernie Sanders. That's right, Bernie Sanders. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, if you will. And he said, basically, he pledges to find out what the hell is going on with UFOs. The article published by Fox News, Bernie Sanders pledges to reveal info on aliens if he wins 2020. First of all, I don't even think he's going to live that long. I just want to say that. Bernie Sanders, there comes a point when you're an old man. There comes a point where you either look like really fucked up and wrinkled, or you look like an old woman. Like, let's take Stallone for a second. Stallone, if you were to put a dress on him, he looks like a really fucked up old lady. He doesn't even look masculine anymore. He looks like a fucked up old lady on steroids. That's what he looks like. Adrian. Yeah, that's what he looks like. Bernie Sanders is on the opposite of that. Bernie Sanders looked like a really bad, prune. A really bad prune who keeps on trying to become president and never makes it. I think basically he does this just to fuck it up for someone else that can win. I think that's what Bernie Sanders really is in it for. So basically, Senator Bernie Sanders out of Vermont, he pledges that if he wins the election in 2020, if he goes up the Trumper, he goes after the Trumper and he wins this election, he is going to do everything in his power to reveal whether or not there is alien information, UFO information from the military and in the government in general. Funny thing, all of a sudden everyone goes over to Joe Rogan to talk about aliens and UFOs. What the hell is going on at Joe Rogan's show? I mean, listen, I kind of like it. They go on there, they give the folks alcohol, they give them weed. They probably talk about all kind of shit that they shouldn't even be talking about. Hint, Bernie Sanders. But like I said, this raid on Area 51, to the Stars Academy, all this stuff that's been going on over the last 3 years is coming down to this. Everyone's falling off of that turnip truck. Okay, he does look a bit like a turnip, more like a prune. Everyone's falling off of the prune truck and falling into the ugly bandwagon. And if you look at the picture that I put in for this episode, Bernie Sanders' hair is like standing up on end, and it has like a ET next to it. That's what it's going to be like. That's the meme for the 2020 election. And that's Bernie being probed by an alien, his hair just standing straight up. According to the conversation with Joe Rogan, his wife, Bernie Sanders' wife, has been questioning him about what the fuck does he know? Because you would think that someone in government would know things about the Navy, changing the UFO reporting guidelines. You'd think they would know about Area 51. But Bernie doesn't know shit. And even if he did, he probably forgot. It's called Alzheimer's. Apparently, Bernie, well, at least he thinks so, that he's one of the leading individuals that is going to throw their hat into the ring to, get that bid, that nomination for the 2020 under the Democrats. And he told Joe Rogan that his wife at times demands that he tell her about this phenomena. And here's a quote that he told Joe Rogan. He says, well, I tell you, my wife, I got to do it no. That's not Bernie Sanders. Well, I tell you, my wife demands I let you know, he told Rogan. This is so sad. Anyway, so Rogan asked whether his wife was a UFO nut. Yeah, that's a good thing to ask someone that's might be president in 2020, Joe. Stop fucking around. He basically asked him if his wife was a UFO nut, and he said no, she's not a UFO nut. She goes, Bernie, what is going on? Do you know? Do you have any access? Of course he doesn't have any fucking access. Are you serious? Come on, lady. Stop drinking the juice. And he says, all right, this is what I'll do, Mr. Rogan. We'll announce it on the show. How's that? Talking about making campaign promises your ass cannot follow through. Because there's no way anyone's going to let you go on the Joe Rogan Experience to announce that there's fucking ETs coming to the planet. Come on. Stop fucking around. I can't take this kind of stuff anymore. It turns out that a lot of this, of course, is coming on the heels of the Navy, Air Force reporting guidelines, and apparently the Department of Defense reportedly briefing Senate Intelligence Committee Vice Chairman Mark Warner, Democrat out of Virginia, in June, along with a couple other senators, what appeared to be heightened efforts to inform politicians about Navy encounters with unidentified aircraft. That's called CYA, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they're covering their ass because some of their own service members, men and women, pilots, and folks on the Navy ships have been talking. They've been telling about incidents. Lieutenant Fravor being one of the most popular ones, he was flying on a Super Hornet. there were folks in the flotilla who also reported the UFOs that were dancing around some of our best military men, women, and equipment. So yeah, after that shit gets out of the bag, guess what? You need to CYA and you need to talk to the people in charge, the ones that pay the money publicly. Because the public is going to go to them. So I just think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that you have Bernie Sanders, you have all these Democrats and Republicans all of a sudden again talking about UFOs. What can you do? I mean, you can't even write this stuff. It is hilarious how they continue to pander to what's popular. And let me tell you, I'm just going to say this. I think that the ticket for 2020 should be Bob Lazar for vice president and Bernie Sanders for president. What an amazing team that would be. I think you guys would agree. Come on. You guys would. Just recently, Jeff posted on the UBR Truth Seekers. There is a video that's posted on there by Jeff Aldrich. And basically, someone took the Joe Rogan Experience interview with Bob Lazar. And they looked at whether or not Bob Lazar's body language showed that he was hiding something, that he was lying about things. That maybe after all these years, he was making shit up. And I would tell you, when this episode came out regarding the Bob Lazar interview, the first thing I said was, he meaning Lazar, was so believable in what he was saying. He really was. Like all the interviews before with Bob Lazar were shit. They were terrible. They did nothing for his character. They did nothing to make him believable. Because in a lot of those videos, he was young, he was cocky. He really was. Now, he'll say that he was scared shitless. He had many attempts on his life, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the interviews. You couldn't. Not 1 second. But when you look at, let's say, the documentary by Corbell, he still looked like a POS. Really, that documentary Corbell did really seemed to be more about Corbell and Corbell going after Lazar and trying to get him to get in front of the camera and do an interview more than it was about Bob Lazar's story, sadly enough. And even then, on the Joe Rogan incident, that's what it was. It was a total mindfuck. But on the Joe Rogan Experience, even then, Corbell tried to put his 2 cents in all the time. Every time he thought that Bob Lazar was tripping up or that maybe he would lead the story astray, he would try to put his 2 cents in. Really wasn't helping it. Corbell, shut the fuck up and sit down. You're a director. You're a producer. Shut the fuck up. Let the man talk. Well, anyway, this video, which is on YouTube, and if you go to UBR Truth Seekers, you'll find the link in there. The video pretty much concluded that there was no way that, from the body language, that Bob Lazar was lying or fibbing. That he honestly, some of his motions and gestures and things like that were congruent with someone that was telling the truth and believed exactly what they saw, what they heard, and what they were reporting. The plot continues to thicken. Did we really have someone, the last few decades, go into hiding because we didn't believe a true story? And now we have about, 3 million people who want to raid Area 51, and the man that was there is telling you, don't even bother. Yeah, Bob Lazar is saying don't go. It's probably not even there anymore. Because as dumb as those people were back then, they're not dumb enough to just leave UFOs, bodies, and stuff like that just laying around so that some guy who loves anime can get a few million people together to try to raid the place. You can't write this stuff. This stuff is ufology. It is crazy. It is bananas. But I believe that in the 2020 race for the White House, we're going to see this UFO thing come on constantly. It's going to be at least a question in every debate. And it's the topic of conversation now. It just is. And as much as people try to keep it away from the mainstream, it is not going away. It really isn't. So we'll have to deal with it. We'll have to deal with the people that fall off the turnip truck onto the bandwagon. And hopefully maybe they can get some traction like this anime kid. But we'll just have to wait and see. So I think today, I'll be able to play the right outro for you. And it's every battle. Here's another battle for us in ufology. The people who are not in the extreme of things are going to have to deal with pruned election people and possibly people who can be on their ticket, like Bob Lazar. I'm telling you, that's my ticket. I'm going to create some memes, and I really want them to get together. Bernie and Bob. B&B 2020 America, where probings are free. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitters. And by the way, the word is that Corbell might be involved in that September 20th raid in Nevada. That would be fascinating because, you know, he wants to be the center of attraction. Fuck everybody else. It's a Corbell show. Somebody save me because this is completely bananas. Ciao.
Somebody save me, I'm losing every battle.